Trust. It's one of the most sacred aspects of our lives. We place it in the hands of others, believing it will be honored, protected. But what happens when that trust is shattered? What happens when we entrust ourselves to the wrong people, those who, rather than lift us up, pull us down? There are certain individuals who, if given the power, can destroy what we've built, emotionally, mentally, and even spiritually. In today's world, we must learn to discern who is worthy of our trust and who isn't. In this video, we're going to explore the 8 types of people you should never trust. These aren't just vague warnings. These are real, practical insights drawn from the wisdom of Stoicism. The Stoics, in their calm and measured way, believed in the importance of discernment, knowing who we allow into our lives and who we need to keep at a distance. We'll dive into the characteristics of these 8 people and how their actions can subtly, or not so subtly, destroy your peace. Understanding these types isn't about becoming cynical or suspicious of everyone around you. It's about gaining the clarity to protect your inner calm, to preserve the integrity of your life and your relationships. By the end of this video, you'll not only have the knowledge to spot these individuals, but also the wisdom to protect yourself from their influence. The Stoic teachings aren't just about philosophy. They're about living with purpose, with strength, and with peace. Let's begin this journey of awareness and understanding so you can build a life that's truly yours. Part 1. The Envious Person. Imagine waking up every day with a heart full of potential, ready to tackle the world. But somewhere in the background there's a voice, one that's not your own. It's the voice of someone who doesn't want to see you succeed. Someone whose eyes are always watching, measuring, comparing. This is the envy that quietly poisons the air around you. It's not loud. It's not overt, but it's there, and it's dangerous. The envious person is someone who can't be happy for your success because they feel threatened by it. They see your progress as a reminder of what they don't have, and instead of using it as motivation, they use it as fuel for resentment. This is not just a person who dislikes you. It's someone who is stuck in their own inner turmoil, constantly measuring their worth by comparing themselves to others. And the problem is, they want to bring you down to their level, because to them your rise makes them feel smaller, less capable, less deserving. You see, envy is a deep-rooted feeling. It's a reflection of their own insecurities, and they project it onto you. And while this might sound harsh, you have to understand, they aren't doing this because of you, but because of their inability to recognize their own worth. The envious person cannot celebrate others because they've not yet learned to celebrate themselves. They can't appreciate what you've earned, what you've worked for, because they're too busy wondering why they haven't earned it too. But here's where you come in. You have the power to recognize this for what it truly is, a reflection of their struggles, not yours. The Stoics taught us that what others think of us is none of our concern. You cannot control how others perceive you or how they react to your success. But you can control how much you let their envy affect you. You see, the envious person doesn't just damage themselves with their toxic mindset. They can also pull you into that negative spiral if you let them. The more you feed into their jealousy, the more you diminish your own sense of self. So how do you protect yourself? By recognizing that their feelings are not yours to carry. When you find yourself surrounded by envy, remember the words of Epictetus. We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them. The envy that others feel is not something you need to take personally. In fact, the more you can detach from it, the more peace you will create in your own life. Don't let their negative energy influence your journey. You are on your path, and their struggles are theirs to resolve, not yours to absorb. In these moments, turn inward. Reaffirm your own sense of self-worth. Understand that your success, your journey, is not a reflection of their failure. It is the culmination of your effort, your growth, your choices. Do not let their envious gaze rob you of your peace. You have worked hard, and you deserve to stand tall in your achievements. But you must do so without arrogance, without gloating. When you can rise above the envy, without becoming defensive or hostile, you allow your own inner strength to shine even brighter. The Stoics believed that true greatness lies in your ability to remain steadfast in the face of external challenges. And envy is one of the toughest challenges to face. So what do you do when you encounter the envious person in your life? First, recognize them for what they are. Someone who is struggling with their own self-worth. Then, protect your peace by not letting their feelings dictate how you feel. Stay calm, stay centered. And most importantly, stay true to yourself. Understand that their envy reflects their inner conflict, and you do not need to carry that burden. You have your own life to live, and that is where your energy should be focused. Remember, the envious person is not your enemy. They are simply lost in their own battle. Your true strength comes from choosing not to join them in that battle. Your peace, your happiness, and your growth are too valuable to be compromised by the jealousy of others. When you face envy, take a deep breath and let it pass you by. Keep walking your path with grace and confidence. You are stronger than their resentment. You are more than enough, just as you are. Part 2. The Manipulator. Have you ever encountered someone who seems to know exactly what to say to get what they want? Someone who is always pulling the strings, creating situations that work in their favor, and leaving you feeling confused, unsure, or even guilty. This is the manipulator, the person who doesn't care about the truth, as long as they can control the outcome. And I want you to stop for a moment and really think, how much of your life has been shaped by someone who used manipulation as a tool to influence your choices, your actions, or even your emotions? The manipulator is an expert in the art of control, not through brute force, but through subtlety. They know how to play on your emotions, how to make you feel responsible for their feelings, their needs, and their desires. They often disguise their intentions under the veil of kindness or concern, but underneath, it's all about them. They thrive on creating doubt in your mind and making you question your own decisions. And the worst part is, you might not even realize it until you're too deep into their game. But I want you to recognize something. When you're dealing with a manipulator, they are not just challenging your boundaries, they are challenging your self-worth. The manipulator seeks to weaken your resolve, to blur the lines between right and wrong, good and bad, until you're no longer sure where you stand. And the longer you allow this to happen, the more you lose yourself in their web. You don't need to be a victim of manipulation. You have the strength to stand firm. You have the ability to see through their games and set clear, unshakable boundaries. The Stoics taught us that we can't control the actions of others, but we can control how we respond to them. You don't need to let the manipulator's tactics affect you. You don't need to feel responsible for their needs or their drama. They are not your problem to fix. Now, I know that might sound easier said than done. Manipulators can be incredibly persuasive, and they often exploit our empathy, our compassion, or our desire to help others. But I want you to remember this. You have your own life to live. You have your own goals, your own values, and your own sense of purpose. No one, not even the most skilled manipulator, has the right to strip that away from you. The first step in freeing yourself from a manipulative person is recognizing the signs. It might be as subtle as a comment that makes you question your own choices, or as overt as them blaming you for their problems. You might feel that they're always turning situations around, so that you're the one who ends up apologizing, even when you've done nothing wrong. That's manipulation. And I want you to understand this. It's not your fault. You are not responsible for their feelings or their actions. You are not their emotional caretaker. Next, you need to draw a line in the sand. Setting boundaries is not about being harsh or unkind. It's about protecting yourself. The Stoics believed in maintaining control over one's own mind and emotions, and this applies directly to the manipulator. If someone is attempting to manipulate you, you have the right to say no, and you have the right to walk away. Their manipulation should not dictate your emotional state. Your peace is non-negotiable. And remember, when you stand firm in your boundaries, the manipulator will likely try to make you feel guilty. They might try to make you feel that you're being selfish or uncaring. But don't be fooled. True strength comes not from constantly giving in to others, but from maintaining your sense of self and integrity. The manipulator wants you to question yourself, but you don't need to. You know your worth. You know your values. Stick to them. It's important to realize that manipulation is often a reflection of the manipulator's own insecurities and fears. They might be afraid of losing control, of not getting what they want, or of facing the reality of their own limitations. But that's not your problem to solve. You don't need to carry the weight of their emotional baggage. You don't need to fix them. You don't need to take on their struggles as your own. When you stop giving in to manipulation, you start to reclaim your power. You begin to realize that you don't need to please everyone. You don't need to be everyone's emotional support system. You have your own life to live, and you can't let anyone take that from you. The manipulator may try to control your actions, but the more you stand firm, the more you remind yourself of your own strength, the less power they have over you. In the end, the manipulator is not someone who deserves your trust. They are someone who seeks to break you down for their own gain. But you have the power to resist. You have the ability to see through the lies and stand tall. You have the strength to protect your peace and your boundaries. You are not their pawn. You are the master of your own destiny. And once you embrace that truth, you will no longer fall prey to their manipulations. You will walk through life with your head held high, knowing that no one can control you unless you allow them to. You hold the power, always. Part 3. The Narcissist. Have you ever met someone who seems to live in their own world, where everything revolves around them? Someone who demands your admiration and attention, but never offers the same in return? Someone who makes you feel small, insignificant, and unimportant, as though your feelings and needs are irrelevant. That is the narcissist. And I want you to think deeply for a moment. How much of your energy, your time, your emotional well-being has been consumed by someone who sees only themselves? Someone who refuses to acknowledge your worth while expecting you to recognize theirs? The narcissist has a way of drawing you in with their charm and their confidence, but beneath that surface is a person who views everything through a lens of superiority. They will make you feel like you're always falling short, always striving for their approval, always chasing their validation. And while you may try to please them, to prove your value, you will never win. Because for the narcissist, nothing is ever enough. Your successes will be minimized, your struggles ignored, and your worth will be measured only by how much you can feed their ego. But here's the harsh truth. You are not here to serve their ego. You are not here to be an extension of their self-importance. You are a person with your own dreams, your own ambitions, and your own sense of worth. The narcissist may try to convince you otherwise, but it is time to stop accepting their false narrative. You are worthy. You are enough. And no one, not even the narcissist, has the right to make you feel otherwise. The narcissist will often manipulate you into thinking that their needs come first. They will use guilt, shame, and even love to keep you tethered to them, constantly seeking their approval, constantly trying to meet their impossible expectations. But here's where you need to draw the line. Your needs matter. Your boundaries matter. Your well-being matters. I know it can be hard to let go of the idea that you can fix someone or change them, but the truth is, you can't. The narcissist does not seek change. They seek control. They don't want to listen to your feelings. They want to make you believe that their feelings are the only ones that matter. And for you to continue on in that relationship, allowing their needs to override yours, is to neglect yourself. You deserve better than that. When you start to recognize the patterns of narcissism, you begin to see through the facade. You begin to understand that their need for attention, admiration, and validation is not about you. It's about them filling a void within themselves that can never truly be filled. The more you give, the more they take. The more you sacrifice, the less they appreciate. And when you stop giving, when you stop feeding into their endless demands, they will react. They may lash out, make you feel guilty, or even turn on you with cruelty. But I want you to remember this. Their reaction is not a reflection of you. It's a reflection of their inability to cope with the fact that you've stopped giving them what they want. You don't need their approval. You don't need their validation. You don't need their constant reinforcement to know your worth. Your worth is inherent. You are valuable, just as you are. The Stoics believed that we are in control of our own worth, not based on external validation or the approval of others, but based on our own actions, our own integrity, and our own sense of purpose. The narcissist will try to make you question that, but you must stand firm in your own truth. This journey, your journey, is about reclaiming your power. It's about remembering who you are outside of the narcissist's influence. You are not here to be anyone's mirror, to reflect their greatness or to bolster their ego. You are here to live your life with dignity, to pursue your goals, and to build relationships that are based on mutual respect and love, not manipulation or control. Now I want you to imagine yourself free from the narcissist's grasp. Imagine what your life could be like if you no longer felt the need to seek their approval, if you no longer felt the weight of their expectations bearing down on you. What would you do with that freedom? What would you do if you could simply be yourself, without constantly trying to measure up to someone else's impossible standards? The answer is simple. You would live. You would live in a way that is authentic to who you are, not what someone else wants you to be. You would create relationships that nurture your soul, not drain your energy. You would pursue your passions, your goals, and your dreams, without the constant pull of someone else's ego. And here's the most powerful truth of all. When you break free from the narcissist, you will finally realize that your worth has never been about them. It has always been about you. You are the one who defines your value. You are the one who controls your narrative, and no one, no narcissist, can take that away from you. Part 4. The liar. Have you ever been deceived by someone who said one thing, only to do the complete opposite? Have you ever trusted someone who promised you the world, only to find out their words were empty? The liar is someone who bends the truth so easily it almost feels like a second nature to them. And yet, in this deception, lies the potential for you to realize something incredibly powerful about yourself, your ability to see through the falsehoods and to protect your heart from manipulation. The liar will make you question your own judgment. They will weave stories, create scenarios, and offer excuses that seem plausible at the time. But beneath the surface, something doesn't sit right. You feel it, don't you? That nagging sense that something is off. And yet, you tell yourself, they wouldn't lie to me, or maybe I misunderstood. It's human to want to trust, to give people the benefit of the doubt. But when you're constantly left feeling confused, hurt, or betrayed by someone who lies, it's time to take a hard look at the reality in front of you. The liar thrives on your trust. They will tell you what you want to hear. They will say the things that make you feel safe, loved, and appreciated. But the truth is, they don't value you in the way you deserve. Their words are only a means to get something from you. Attention, validation, control. They will manipulate the truth to serve their needs, never considering how it affects you. And this can leave you feeling small, unimportant, or powerless. But here's where you have to stop. This is the moment where you realize you are not powerless. I want you to understand this. The lies they tell are a reflection of their own insecurities, not your worth. The liar doesn't want you to see the truth because they fear losing control over you. They may lie to keep you attached to them, to keep you in their world, where you're reliant on their approval and dependent on their version of reality. But in doing so, they are disrespecting you. They are undermining your trust, and your trust is sacred. You deserve to be treated with honesty, with respect, and with integrity. But here's the thing. You have the power to choose what you believe. No matter how convincing the liar may be, you are the one who ultimately decides whether or not you will accept their words. You have the ability to listen to your instincts, to feel the subtle vibrations of dishonesty in their speech. You have the strength to recognize when something isn't right, and that is a powerful gift. It's not easy, I know. The liar is often skilled at making you doubt yourself. They twist the truth, turning it into something that almost feels like it could be real. And that's where your inner strength comes in. Trust yourself. Trust that little voice inside of you that says, something doesn't add up here. You don't have to know everything right away, but you can choose to take a step back, to observe and to assess. In doing so, you protect yourself from being manipulated. The Stoics taught us that our peace comes not from external circumstances, but from how we manage our own inner world. The liar will try to disturb your peace, but you don't have to let them. Their lies are theirs to carry, not yours. You have no obligation to take on their falsehoods. You don't have to allow their lies to change how you view yourself or the world. You can choose to detach from the narrative they try to spin and reclaim your own truth. And when you start to see the lies for what they are, you begin to protect your heart. You stop giving the liar the power to affect your emotions. You stop allowing their deception to shape your reality. And in this, you become stronger, wiser, and more resilient. You learn that your truth is the only one that matters. But it's not just about protecting yourself. It's about reclaiming your trust in others. After all, not everyone is a liar. Not everyone seeks to manipulate you. And in breaking free from the liar, you make space for authentic connections. Connections built on trust, respect, and understanding. So, when you encounter a liar in your life, remember this. You have the power to see through the lies. You have the strength to trust yourself. And you have the wisdom to walk away from relationships that don't honor your truth. Don't let their deception make you question your worth. Stand firm in your integrity. You deserve honesty. You deserve respect. You deserve to be seen for who you truly are, not for the distorted version someone else wants to create. Part 5. The self-destructive person. There's a kind of person who walks through life with a cloud hanging over them. They may seem fine on the surface, but underneath, they're fighting battles with themselves. Their own thoughts, their own actions, are the very things that pull them down. The self-destructive person is often someone you care about, maybe even someone you love. But no matter how much you try to help, they continue to sabotage their own happiness. Have you ever tried to reach out to someone like this, only to find that no matter what you do, they continue to push away the very things they need to heal? You may be wondering why they behave this way, and it's important to understand. Their self-destruction isn't always a conscious choice. It's a pattern, often built over years, shaped by past traumas, unresolved pain, or deep-seated insecurities. They may not even realize that they are their own worst enemy. But you see it, don't you? You see how they keep repeating the same destructive habits, hurting themselves and the people around them. And the hardest part is knowing that, despite your best efforts, they won't change until they decide to change. And that's where you come in. This is where you need to pause and reflect. How much can you help someone who refuses to help themselves? How much can you sacrifice before you lose your own sense of self? It's a delicate balance, and sometimes the most loving thing you can do for the self-destructive person is to step back. You can offer support. You can show compassion, but you cannot force them to take the steps they need to heal. You cannot do the work for them. You cannot live their life for them. But you can set boundaries to protect your own well-being. You are not responsible for their choices, and this is a truth that will set you free. You can't save someone who doesn't want to be saved. But here's where the power of Stoicism comes in. You can control how you respond. You can control the space you allow them to take in your life. You can control your own peace of mind, and you can choose to be there for them in a way that doesn't drain you. You can choose to love them from a distance, offering encouragement without losing yourself in their chaos. the self-destructive person often doesn't know their own worth. They may feel broken, unworthy, or incapable of change. But here's something you need to remember. You can't internalize their struggles as your own. You cannot carry their burdens for them. It's not fair to either of you. You deserve peace. You deserve to live a life that isn't constantly burdened by someone else's pain. And you have the power to create that for yourself. What you can do is show them the potential for a different path. You can be a beacon of hope, a quiet reminder that there's a life beyond self-destruction. But don't make the mistake of thinking that you can fix them. They have to do that work for themselves. You can support them by modeling healthy behaviors, showing them what peace looks like, and offering them gentle encouragement. But ultimately, the decision to change lies with them. In this process, you'll also discover something deeply important about yourself, your own strength. It's easy to become consumed by someone else's struggles, especially when you care about them. But as you let go of the need to fix, heal, or save, you begin to reclaim your own power. You are not their savior, and you are not responsible for their happiness. You are only responsible for your own. This doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you learn to love them without losing yourself. You learn to support them without becoming enmeshed in their suffering. You learn to offer compassion without allowing their choices to define your happiness. And this, in itself, is a lesson in personal growth. Remember, the Stoics believed that we can't control the actions of others, but we can control how we respond. And when it comes to the self-destructive person, you can choose to be compassionate, while also choosing not to let their choices take away your peace. You can be there for them, but you must always protect your own well-being. You can be a light in their life, but you can never let their darkness overshadow your own. You are stronger than you think. Your peace is yours to protect. And in helping the self-destructive person, you learn the power of boundaries, compassion, and self-preservation. Ultimately, it's about understanding that sometimes the most loving thing you can do is let someone find their own way, and allow yourself the space to grow too. Part 6. The victim. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where someone constantly plays the victim? Maybe it's a close friend, a family member, or even someone you care about deeply. They seem to believe that life is always against them. Every setback, every challenge becomes a personal attack. They're constantly looking for reasons to feel hurt, misunderstood, or wronged. And no matter how much you try to support them, they never seem to take responsibility for their own actions or the choices they make. Instead, they place the blame on external forces, never truly looking inward. It's easy to fall into the trap of wanting to help them, to offer comfort, to be the shoulder they lean on. But here's the truth. The victim mentality doesn't need comfort or sympathy. It needs strength and accountability. You see, when someone consistently identifies as a victim, they begin to lose sight of their own power. They begin to believe that their circumstances control them, that they are helpless in the face of life's challenges. And the worst part is, they start to rely on this victimhood to justify their inaction, their lack of growth, and their inability to move forward. But here's the question you need to ask yourself. Are you enabling their helplessness by constantly stepping in to rescue them? Think about it. How often have you tried to solve their problems for them? How often have you listened to their complaints, only to watch them repeat the same patterns over and over again, never changing, never growing. It's as if they're stuck in a cycle, and no matter how much energy you pour into it, nothing ever shifts. You are a caring person. You have a big heart. But there's a limit to how much you can help someone who refuses to take ownership of their own life. You cannot carry someone else's burdens forever. You cannot fix someone who doesn't want to fix themselves. And more importantly, you cannot keep sacrificing your own peace and happiness to perpetuate someone else's story of victimhood. This is where the power of Stoicism comes in. The Stoics taught us that we cannot control what happens to us in life, but we can control how we respond. And when it comes to the victim, you must realize that they have the power to change, but only if they decide to stop seeing themselves as a victim. They need to take responsibility for their own life, their own decisions, and their own healing. But they can't do that if you keep enabling their sense of powerlessness. Your role in this situation is not to fix them. It's not to carry their burdens or live their life for them. Your role is to set boundaries, to show compassion, and to encourage them to take ownership of their own choices. You can be there for them, but you must also protect your own energy. You must choose to step back when necessary, even if it feels uncomfortable. Because you know deep down that by allowing them to keep playing the victim, you are only perpetuating their suffering and your own. This is a hard truth to accept, but it is also incredibly freeing. When you stop enabling someone's victimhood, you make space for them to take responsibility. You give them the opportunity to step into their own power, and in doing so, you also reclaim your own peace. You stop being dragged into the cycle of negativity and helplessness. You stop allowing someone else's narrative to define your own. You are not responsible for their pain. You are not responsible for their healing. And while it may be hard to let go, you need to understand that sometimes the best way to help a victim is to stop enabling them and allow them to take control of their own life. This is where true growth happens, not just for them, but for you as well. Because in letting them face their own challenges, you make space for them to learn, to grow, and ultimately to take ownership of their life. And you have the power to protect your own well-being. You have the strength to draw boundaries that honor both your needs and theirs. You can still offer support, but you no longer carry their victimhood on your shoulders. You can still love them, but you no longer let their struggles define your happiness. And in this way, you not only free them, but you also free yourself. The Stoics taught us to focus on what we can control. You can't control the victim's mindset, but you can control how you engage with them. And in doing so, you can create a life of peace and empowerment for both you and them. Part 7. The Opportunist. Have you ever encountered someone who always seems to be in the right place at the right time? Someone who knows how to take advantage of every opportunity, every situation, no matter the cost. They're always looking for ways to turn situations in their favor, even if it means using others along the way. Maybe you've seen it in the workplace, in your social circles, or perhaps even within your own family. The opportunist knows how to use people, how to manipulate circumstances to get ahead. They're quick to claim credit for something they didn't do, and they rarely give anything without expecting something in return. But here's the thing. You might feel a mix of admiration and discomfort when you see someone like this. On one hand, you may respect their ability to seize opportunities, their confidence, their drive. You may even wonder how they do it so effortlessly. But deep down, you know there's something missing. You know that their success is built on a foundation that's shaky, fragile, and dishonest. It may look like they're winning in the short term, but what they're really doing is undermining the very principles of trust, integrity, and respect. And the hard truth is, you may have seen a little bit of this opportunistic behavior in yourself too. Have you ever found yourself taking advantage of a situation at the expense of others? Have you ever prioritized your own gain over someone else's well-being, even if just a little? It's a difficult question to answer honestly, but it's one worth asking, because the opportunist isn't just someone out there. Sometimes they live inside all of us. The Stoics teach us that we should live with integrity, guided by virtue, and focused on the things that truly matter, like wisdom, courage, and justice. When we live with these principles in mind, we recognize that real success isn't about taking advantage of others or manipulating situations for personal gain. True success comes from living in alignment with our values, treating others with fairness, and striving to be the best version of ourselves, not at the expense of others, but in support of the collective good. You may feel the temptation to use others to get ahead, to cut corners, or to take what's not yours. It's a natural impulse in a world that often rewards those who can navigate the system the fastest and most effectively. But every time you act from a place of opportunism, you are choosing a path that leads to emptiness. You are trading your integrity for short-term success, and eventually, that price becomes too high to pay. The true power, the real strength, comes not from taking advantage of others, but from lifting them up alongside you. Think about it. When you help others succeed, when you work in collaboration and support their growth, you are not only building something greater than yourself, but you're also creating a legacy of trust, respect, and kindness. This is the kind of success that leaves a lasting impact, that leaves you feeling fulfilled and at peace with yourself. You may be wondering, how do you let go of the temptation to be the opportunist? The first step is recognizing that this mindset is not aligned with the person you want to be. Every choice you make is an opportunity to build the life you want, a life of authenticity, honor, and self-respect. When you act with integrity, even when it seems like others might be getting ahead by cutting corners, you are investing in your true success. You are powerful. You have the ability to make choices that reflect the best version of who you are. And while it might take time to shift away from the temptation to seize every opportunity at the expense of others, you can do it. You can choose to be a person of integrity. You can choose to be the kind of person who builds their success not on manipulation, but on genuine effort, collaboration, and respect for others. Remember, the path of the opportunist may look like an easy road to success, but it's a path that leads to loneliness, regret, and a life devoid of true fulfillment. The path of integrity, on the other hand, may be harder in the short term, but it's the path that leads to lasting peace, respect, and a life you can be proud of. You have the strength to choose the path that honors who you are and who you want to become. Choose wisely. Choose with integrity. And as you do, you'll find that the real opportunities, the ones that bring lasting joy and fulfillment, will come to you naturally. Part 8. The disrespectful person. Have you ever been treated with blatant disrespect? Have you ever encountered someone who made you feel small, unimportant, or invisible? Someone who dismisses your feelings, ignores your boundaries, or mocks your ideas without a second thought. It's hurtful, isn't it? To be disregarded as though you don't matter. But here's something important. When you feel disrespected, it can stir up something deep inside you. A pain, an anger, a desire to fight back. You might feel like you want to stand your ground, to correct them, to show them that they've wronged you. And in that moment, you may think that the only way to restore your dignity is by fighting fire with fire. But what if there was another way? What if the way you respond could transform not just the situation, but you as well? You see, respect is not something we can control in others. You can't make someone treat you with respect, no matter how hard you try. But what you can control is how you allow their disrespect to affect you. You have the power to choose how you respond. The choice is yours, and it can be a transformative one. Stoicism teaches us that our inner peace is not dependent on the actions of others. It's easy to think that when someone disrespects you, they're taking something from you. But the truth is, they can only take what you're willing to give. Your peace, your sense of self-worth, your calm. The disrespectful person can push your buttons, can make you feel anger or frustration. But only you can decide whether you let that define your response. It's not easy. It's not about letting people walk all over you or suppressing your feelings. It's about recognizing that you are in control of your own emotions. You are the one who gets to decide whether to meet disrespect with more disrespect, or whether to rise above it and maintain your own sense of dignity. In those moments when you feel disrespected, take a step back and breathe. Give yourself a moment to pause. Ask yourself, how do I want to respond? Do I want to be like them, letting my emotions control my actions? Or do I want to choose a different path, one that reflects who I truly am, not who they are? The person who disrespects you may be angry, insecure, or lost in their own struggles. Their actions may have nothing to do with you and everything to do with their own inner turmoil. When you remember that, it becomes easier to feel compassion for them instead of anger. You start to realize that their behavior is not a reflection of you, but a reflection of where they are in their own journey. This is where your power lies. In every moment of disrespect, you have the opportunity to decide who you are. Do you want to be someone who reacts with anger and hostility? Or do you want to be someone who remains calm, grounded, and centered in your values? The disrespectful person can try to pull you down, but you have the strength to rise above. You don't need their approval, their validation, or their respect to know your worth. Your worth is inherent. It is not determined by the opinions of others. It is something deep within you, a truth that no one can take away. The real strength lies in how you carry yourself, even in the face of disrespect. It's about holding your head high, not because you're above anyone, but because you know who you are. You are someone who chooses peace over chaos, compassion over resentment, understanding over judgment. This is the path of true strength. And when you choose to respond with grace, when you choose to respond with dignity, you are showing not only them but yourself that you are above the petty games of disrespect. You are showing that their behavior does not have power over you. So, the next time you encounter someone who disrespects you, take a moment, breathe, choose your response carefully, and remember, your peace is yours to protect. You have the power to decide how you will show up in the world, no matter how others act. This is where your true strength lies, in your ability to remain calm, to remain true to yourself, and to rise above the noise. Conclusion. You've now walked through the different faces of life's challenges. The manipulator, the narcissist, the liar, the self-destructive person, the victim, the opportunist, and the disrespectful person. Each one can provoke a reaction within you. Each one has the power to stir emotions, to make you feel small, angry, or lost. But here's the truth. These challenges do not define you. You are not the sum of their actions or words. You are something much more powerful. You are the creator of your own response. You are the one who gets to choose how you show up in the world, regardless of the chaos that may surround you. In every interaction, in every challenge, you are presented with a choice: to respond from a place of reaction, or to respond from a place of calm, control, and clarity. You have the power to decide whether to give your energy away to others, or to hold it within yourself, cultivating your peace, your strength, and your resilience. Life will continue to present obstacles. There will always be people who try to manipulate, lie, or disrespect you. But with each experience, you can choose to learn, to grow, and to transform. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You are the architect of your own life. The true freedom comes from knowing that nothing external can control your inner peace, unless you allow it. As you move forward, remember that the strength to rise above the negativity, to stay true to your values, and to remain grounded in your own sense of worth lies within you. Trust yourself. Trust that you have the power to choose a different path, a path of peace, of wisdom, of resilience. You are capable of navigating any challenge with grace and strength, because that's who you truly are. You don't need to react. You can respond. And in that response, you can shape your own destiny. Always remember, you are not defined by the actions of others. You are defined by how you choose to live, how you choose to respond, and how you choose to show up. And with that, you take back your power. You stand tall, knowing that you are the one in control. You are the one who decides. And that is where your true strength lies.